Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome back to our Invictus launch week. Today, we are hopping into Crusader Day! Well, it's not just Crusader, it is a variety of ship designers. We've got Misk, we've got Tumbril, and we have got nothing else because that's it. No, but we've got three major ship and ground vehicle providers for today, and as you can see, I'm really psyched. This is really cool. We got a whole bunch of cool stuff to locate and showcase. And also, we've got the big highlight of the event, which of course is the Crusader. And a little bit further behind, we also have access to the tanks as well. So in terms of going into, so in terms of how we're going to go to the main hall to start with. Make our way into the Freelancers next. We won't go into the Ferrer Gemini. I think I'll save that for CitizenCon. But we'll be having a little glance around for there. Then we're going to head over to the other side of the room, which has the Crusader MSR, which is, yeah. But still, holy shit, you know, this is it. They're finally here. So what exactly is the Hercules? What exactly is it? Well, the Hercules is a large transport ship, of which there are 3 editions. The first, well, I say transport ship, it's a large ship. We'll consider it a large ship because there are 3 editions of the ship that we get to work with. A couple of other caveats. It is Invictus launch week, so everyone is hopping onto the servers, so there will be some lag. There are fireworks going off in the background, thanks to, for some designer reason. And finally, I think I'm coming down with a cold, because I've been coughing and I'm not coughing, like normal, like meh, kind of just generally feeling less than great. So, yay. I've dosed up on Lemsip, so I should hopefully be able to sound somewhat coherent and not phlegmed up, completely, but there we go. So anyway, the Crusader Hercules. What exactly is it? Well, it's a large ship of 3 variants. The first is the C2, which is the one we're looking at right now. This has the benefit of the largest cargo capacity, which is 696 SCUs worth of cargo. This also has a habitation section and a bunch of other niceties, which is cool. Over in the distance there is the M2 variant. This one has an additional turret at the front, which you can see is not there on the C2. And where the habitation deck is, there is a giant armory. I will only be exploring the first ship through and through. But I will do like a little tiny preview of like the different bits in the other ship to highlight the differences for those who have not been into either of these ships. But let's go into this ship the first way, which is the giant cargo bay. I mean, look at this cargo bay. It's fucking massive. Absolutely outstanding. So, yeah, both in the entrance and in the... both in the stern and the bow of the ship, you have access to putting all the stuff through. It is really awesome. You've got controls to turn it on and off. In fact, you can even lock... Can you lock it? Oh, you can fucking lock it, of course. That's fucking cool. Yeah, no, that's actually dope as shit. Not gonna lie. We'll be getting onto the extra fundamental features. There's the ladder, which allows you to go from the upper deck to the lower deck. This is considered the lower deck. There's the elevator, which allows you to access this section. But no, this is a really cool thing. Hello, random person. You can tell the difference. You can always tell that there's a new Star Citizen player because they wear the most strange bits of gear I've ever seen. Hello, person who has ascended reality. Anyway, so there's 3 ways you can get in: the front, the back, and this elevator with a really kooky way of working. It was like this when I was testing out with my good friend Nimbus. Bearing in mind, this is of course the ship model edition. But this particular elevator works the same when you're outside. So there's the elevator heading into this point, which is cool. And going into... So I should probably turn my helmet on just so that way. So as we make our way into the main thoroughfare of the ship, you can see there's a whole bunch of really awesome things. There's all these tabs that are open. So the storage tab is very interesting. because although we haven't really tested this out, so I can't say 100% for certain, but if it's true, holy fucking shit. Basically, what this storage unit represents is its own separate storage compartment with a shitload of room inside, which could mean that you could have multiple tabs for separate storage abilities. Or it's all just combined into one. We don't know. This is pure speculation. But the concept you can imagine is you're a miner. You've been mining for a while. You filled up your ground vehicle. You filled up your backpack. You make your way into the ship. You empty your backpack into the cargo, and you can end up storing it as you can end up storing it inside the ship. Then you can go back out and mine some stuff or whatever, and that means you can extend how much money and ore you can make from the mining trip. It's a possibility. If you don't have an Orion, this is a good workaround, I'd say. So, making our way across towards the bridge, as you can see, there is the elevator making our way through, and there's the door being super sensitive. But we're not going to look at that because one of the features, one of the things I love about the Crusader ships, and why I'm becoming more of a fanboy, is because you're getting more functionality and added ness to the my brain's fried, I'm sorry. You can do more shit inside your ship. So previously, when you turn the power on, your lights are on and that's it. You can't really change them. But in Crusader ships, you can change the fucking lighting. So you could go into this dark mode theme, or you can go no lights theme, which also for some reason turns off the power at the back of the ship, which I have mixed feelings about, but I kind of want to see what the back of the ship looks like now, because we actually haven't seen that before. I didn't realize that also turned off. Oh, okay, so yeah. It's just a blind fucking light. Okay. But no, we'll keep this on the normal lighting so we can see as much as humanly possible, which is awesome. So another really funky and awesome feature about this is the doors. Now you can see on these doors, there's two options, close and sensors. So we're going to go it this way, which is actually a really good option. So we're going to turn these on, if it wants to work. This door in particular is a bitch. You know what, I'm going to do it with the other door. Yeah, we'll do it with the other door. Bunch of component access as well, so you can press these little buttons here, and you can close these things down. So you can see all of the different sort of functionalities. Right, so this one. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to showcase this thing. Does this turn on? Are you really serious? Oh, is it because we have to... the sensor thing? No, it's just being a pain. Okay. So we'll showcase this as because it is kind of doing what I wanted to do. I just can't activate it at this point. Again, showroom edition. Sometimes stuff doesn't work as intended, but this did work 100% when I was doing it with my friend. Anyway, so as you can see, we make our way towards this door. Door spots us with the sensor mode on. Door opens without me having to manually do it. However, I go to the other side, and as I make my way closer to the other door, the door remains open because the sensor module isn't activated, resulting in the door remaining open. So, of course, naturally, you want to close that shit, which is, makes sense. So as we make our way into the last door... Does this have the lock? Yes, it does. So what you can also do, and this also was a feature on the first front series of doors, is you can not only change the sensors of the door, meaning that you can sort of customize when you want to open it or close it, but you can also lock it. So now, if you want to stop pirates or anyone trying to get into your ship whilst you're flying around in the verse and you're not exactly careful about when you land or where you land and random pubbos decide to say hello, you can actually tell them to fuck off royally by locking the door, which is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of this. There is a level of trolling that naturally will occur. We even had some in the event where, annoyingly enough, someone had decided to lock all the front doors in a server I was trying to join whilst attempting to record this episode. So, thank you, dickweed. But anyway, so now we're in the bridge section of the Carrack. Yes, the Carrack, not the Hurricane. Or fucking goddamn, my brain. The Hercules. There we go, Jaeger, you fucking spaz. Anyway, So the Hercules bridge is what we're in, and the military edition would be using that console to the left as a robot access terminal to the remote turret at the front. So we make our way to the pilot and co-pilot. Though, to be honest with you, I say the word pilot loosely because... Hang on. Oh, there it is, yeah. Oh, it's there. Okay. I say the word co-pilot loosely because, obviously, because you can see he can't actually fly the ship. What the co-pilot would be doing is accessing the remote turrets, which is located with that little switch on the side. We actually have worked this, and it is really cool. It's one of those ones that you can actually flip up and down in the switches. So in terms of what the pilot can do, you've got all the usual MFDs spread around, loads of interactivity in the buttons and the switches, which is really fucking cool. I like this. This is a lot of fucking awesome stuff there. So, and this feels like you're in a commercial pilot ship. You can also have the ability to touch some of these buttons as well. But these are more for your co-pilot than anything because he has the ability to deal with any threats that may come along. So that's something we have to keep into consideration. But no, really fantastic steering wheel style controls. A bit interesting, I won't lie, but at the same time, sure. Not sure what this button does. It says doors and close, but we don't know whether that means it's the doors inside the ship or whether it's the doors on the main entrance thoroughfare. But we've tried pressing them in the non-showroom edition and nothing happened, or nothing that we could notice. So, to each its own. Anywho, going over to the co-pilot seat, more or less the same thing. You've got a bunch of interactivity, mostly around this point here, mostly up around this point here. Then you have access to the remote turret, which is located here. So again, not really doing a lot, but you are actually more responsible for the defense of the ship, which, depending on your circumstances, is a very valuable thing. But yeah, so... making our way to the stern of the ship. Alright. So we're going over to the starboard side of the ship. And we go to the habitation sections. And once again, each of the sensors and everything else... going into here is the very lovely, very well decorated, with our own little personal lockers that no one ever seems to fucking close, because respect for the environment is a new thing apparently. And we have an assortment of books and stuff. What does it say? Lawmaker's Guide. Nice. Steps for Humanity, A Story of Political Discourse, Dare to Dream, Clan Brutality. Nice. Nice, a bunch of books. But yeah, so you can see these ships have been lived in. You can see that there's a nice little habitation for the crew. Whatever limited amount of stuff they have. What is that? What is that? Oh, it's an Ursa Rover toy edition. Ah, that's adorable. Oh, that's blessed. Where's the really fucky scissors? Oh, it's not here. Ooh, that's an ugly cactus. Look, interesting looking pen. Is that a mug? I don't know. And there's, of course, the other little benefits and all that jazz. Oh. It's, Huh. What the hell is that? Oh, I think that's that new freaky whale thing that's being displayed at Orison as well. In the Crusader planet on Crusader. On the Crusader-held planet, there's a capital called Orison, which is going to have a statue, and that thing is going to be part of the thing. So who knows? I'll be able to see that thing in bigger detail. Anyway, so we're making our way towards the stern of the ship, and as you can see, we've got all of the different interactables, which is really cool. Where is the one for this one? Is it on the other side? I saw it earlier. Or is it already exposed? Oh, no access. Well, no. I'll be damned if I have no access. Unless that's just the access it wants. Or is that the same on the other side? I can't remember. But this is where you can see the components and how they're installed into the ship. And, of course, the engine, which looks absolutely incredible. A bit risky. to have something so powerful so exposed, but maybe there's a sci-fi reason. And another component module in the background. So the main concept with this is that eventually these components will need maintenance. And they will be needed to be, and as an engineer, you'll be needed to look at these ships' components and go, what's the problem, what isn't the problem, and other various activities. I think that must be the fuel tank. Yeah, there has to be. The God Ray. And it's the same in the background for this thing, pretty much the same layout as before. So this is where this ship also is different from the Hercules. So in here, we have a recreation section, which has a lovely table we've got a kitchen, we've got food and supplies, there's the TV, a pretty damn good TV. For some reason, despite this being in the 29th century, this feels like an old-style TV. Like, it doesn't feel like a HD TV, even though it probably is. But yeah, so there's the recreation point. You've got a nice little update. Where was my favorite one? There's the Star Villain upgrade. Yeah, Star Villain update. And what I think is a remote control, but I have no idea. It almost just looks like a suppressor. Or, yeah, it just looks like a suppressor with a tap on the top, but it probably is some other funky device that... It's the 2900s. I'm not going to know what the fuck they got in terms of TV technology, though I find it hilarious that the concept of the TV is still there despite all these years. It's like, you know, we can have all these fancy pants gears and doodads, but the TV remains the same. It's the one thing we can't quite figure out how to improve upon. But no, it looks very cool. As I said, it's the habitation, it's the recreation deck, and of course, in all of these rooms, you get the ability to adjust the lighting. So now we have more cinema, so when it's movie night, you want to watch the thing, boom, you have that. And then, of course, you want to turn it off completely. It's completely gone. There's no lighting whatsoever. But we're going to put it back on, because the lighting is actually pretty dope. So there we go. Really nice. Really nicely done. Very excited about that. So what we'll do now is we'll make our way to the Hercules for a quick demonstration on what the differences are. And then we'll have a look at the big boy in the center of the room. Best fucking ladder I've seen yet. Okay, so here we are inside the M2 variant. As you can see, the M2 has the spare seat in the pilot's array. Which then, if we head over to here, and then activate the power, we then have the ability to we then make our way towards the gunner switch, which is a very, 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 very small turret, which you have to sort of zoom into. But as you can see on the bow section of the ship, we have spare turret, which is nice. So, switch the power off. So I do have to be quick with this, because unfortunately I couldn't quite get it to work. Couldn't get into the ship in the event hall, but we were able to get our own, because I own one of the A9, A2 editions, which means I get the M2 as a standard. So over here... Is it habitation? No, so it's this way, yes. So over here we have auxiliary crew instead of the relaxation. So as you can see, the internals of this ship have troops and crew for, well, seats for extra crew, maybe for passengers and transports, or more likely military stuff, because, well, when we go into the armory, we get access to a whole bunch of good shit, as well as escape pods or ODST style drops. But more often, there's probably just the suit. Yeah, it's just the suits that are made available. Though that would be cool if you could also treat this as an ODST kind of thought. That would be fucking dope. But yeah. So these are all the weapons you have access to and anything else. So again, it's a simple system, but it works. And it looks pretty dope. So yeah. Hercules. Fantastic ship. So, as we make our way towards the center of the room, you can see the big chunky boys with their awesome display. These are, of course, the first ground combat vehicles, like proper tanks. No, I'll just say tanks. These are the first tanks. This is the first tank in Star Citizen, the Tumbril Nova tank. Now, for anyone who wants to know where the meme came from, basically during a live video, one of the developers of the vehicle, who was a Frenchman, and his very Frenchly accented description of the tank became meme-worthy, and eventually even the developers were saying, yep, it's the tank. But for me, it irritates me because I'm like, it's a tank. I'm very literal. But then again, for me, this is more like, you know, if any of you guys know my World of Tanks bias, it was always, you know, German. So for me, I'm looking at this like, I'm going to do a semi-dick move and say, nah, this isn't a tank, this is a Panzerkampfwagen. This is Panzerkampfwagen Aufrang E Nova. It's a bit like almost like a World of Tanks review. So, hello guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we're going to have a look at the Panzerkampfwagen Ausführung D Nova with its 9000. But no, it's a very, very lovely looking tank. I had very limited access to this thing when it first came out. It was like literally on the patch release. Myself and my very good friend Nimbus gained access to it. He owns the vehicle, so... Actually, no, he probably doesn't own it anymore because he's got the other shit instead. But no, so this is, of course, the absolute dream tank. She has a size 5 main gun, size 2, I believe, size 2, maybe size, yeah, no, size 2 dual, twin-linked las bolts, or bolters if you want to. Yeah, twin-linked las bolts or twin-linked machine guns at the top, depending on your customization, and missiles at the back. Now, the interesting thing apparently about this particular vehicle is that apparently it's meant to get some kind of infinite recharge style missiles at some point, I've heard. But what I can say is that at the moment you get access to some missiles. I have no idea how to use these things at this point. Again, very limited experience when driving this thing for the first time, but I will be renting this little bastard because I want it. I also want to, you know, have this thing IRL. That would be so great, wouldn't it? It is a big chungus, as you can see. It is, when walking next to it, it's incredibly large. Look at the fucking size of that thing. But anyway, so it has a crew of 3. You access it via the rear hatch, gunner seat, commander seat, driver's seat. Now the interesting thing about this particular vehicle is that the driver can technically utilize this vehicle on his own. Going into the terms of visuals, we'll go into details about that later. But no, so the driver's seat has a pretty, well, from the first person perspective, not the greatest of view, but it is a tank, and it is a really cool sort of one-way system, which it does work. It's not going to be less armor. It's the same level of armor. The angled nature of the armor makes it very difficult for stuff to penetrate. But it definitely looks and is a very impressive bit of kit and design. You activate the power. You've got a nice... So you have all of the different sort of UI elements, you've got the different cycles. But the other cool thing, of course, is you have access to the remote turret as well. So as you can see on there, anti-personnel. Oh, you do have the missiles as well, but I haven't been able to effectively do that. But as you can see, in terms of visuals on the gun side of things, the crosshair is very, very simplistic. You can shoot the velocity of the weapon depending on the planet. We've not done thorough testing, but the velocity on Daymar is very limited. Obviously, it's a low-grav planet. But unfortunately, in terms of aiming, it's very, very simple. It's the same turret display as any other turrets, any other turret vehicle. So you won't be able to really make too much accuracy when it comes to shooting. You'll just have to make ranging shots to guarantee... well, to be able to get your sense of accuracy. And then experience after that will take over. But yeah, it's not great in terms of what it looks like. But the cool thing with this is that the driver can use the main gun, which is very cool. This is a really funky feature. So what can the commander do? Well, the commander sadly can't have access to the main gun, but instead has access to 2 twin-linked las repeaters, which he accesses via this, which is more anti-personnel than the other ones. But as you can see, really cool. If you're fully crewed with 3 people, this is possibly the best view of the entire tank. You can obviously go into third person, but if you want to keep things fairly immersed and you've got a full crew, then this is probably the best view. Well, this is the best view in terms of first person because you have a full traverse 360, high perspective as well, so if you want to spot targets over the ridgeline for your gunner, again, really good. And also you have the ability to aim downwards to remove any potential threats to the vehicle in question. So yeah, pretty good. So we'll hop on, put the power onto this bit as well. Does it have the power here? Remote thing, power on. There we go. So once again, just a bunch of functionalities and features looking pretty cool. As we make our way out of this thing, head over to here, and we make our way over to here. We now enter into the gunner seat. So as we swap over to the actual weapons, it's actually kind of interesting because when the gunner has access to certain shit, it's kind of the buttons to switch it on and off. I mean, there's the access to the remote turret there, which you have to be careful with because if you go slightly above, you can actually end up. And once again, gunner seat. Now, what I'm not aware of is how to utilize the missiles from the gunner's perspective, because from what I can imagine, the driver has access to the gunner's chair. The commander probably obviously has access to the upper turret. So my thought process was it was the gunner's ability to have access to the missiles, but I don't know how to activate those at this point in time. I will be doing some thorough testing as well, but at this point in time, unknown. But it looks absolutely incredible, and for a ground-based tank, it is love it. I'm wondering if we're gonna get skimmer tanks in the future. That possibly would be cool, though I imagine it will be a bit of a bitch to work with. But skimmer tanks are a thing. In terms of maneuverability, I can say with certainty that this thing is quite fast. For such a large vehicle, it is quite quick. You also have a tendency to drift around. I would say in terms of speed, would say 40-50 kilometers in a straight line, max speed. She has a tendency to drift. Power to weight ratio is quite good. It's been a while since I've played World of Tanks, so in terms of, I can't remember any exact. I can't really give you an exact figure, but maybe if I'd said the AMX 1390, in terms of speed and maneuverability, she is fast. Like she's not stupidly fast. She is a heavy tank after a while, but she can drift, and eventually a good driver will be able to utilize that maneuverability to the maximum advantage. Given the fact that she has such a tall stature, I would definitely suggest that she's a hull down tank. Under Glacius is a bit of a glaring weakness, but she has got a very, very well angled front section. In terms of penetration capacity, she also does have shields. Though when I tested this out, I fired a couple of railgun rounds. I didn't want to blow it up, obviously, because we didn't have a lot of time left to take for retrieval. So we didn't go all the way through and knocked it out. But what we did do is fire a single railgun at the front, which disabled the shields. And fire the railgun on the side, disable shields, rear, disabled shields. In terms of hull damage, there wasn't actually, from what we could see, we don't know, okay, for what we could see, it doesn't look like it does any kind of major hull damage when you break through the shields. So this thing can take a punch through the shields, and then the armor starts taking hits as well. Now, obviously, as the game gets further development, armor actually becomes more and more of a factor. So eventually what could possibly happen is the armor could probably tank shite loads more damage than it could before, resulting in this thing being really devastating. And of course, the last thing I have to talk about when it comes to this thing is the fact that this turret is meant to be modulable, which means you could take this turret out, replace it with a Hydra battery, or you could replace it with an anti-air battery. You could replace it with a ground pounder artillery, so you can have like a proper self-propelled gun. All of these things, or a very good idea as well, you replace the turret with a mining laser turret, and you turn it into a tracked mining ground vehicle, which I think is a good idea. Just saying. Anyway, hint, hint. We now make our way towards the next room. As we make our way into the first of the big rooms, we are given the vista of Misk, which, to be honest with you, doesn't really have a lot of military ships. Yeah, it's very... Misk is more of a civilian market, but it does have some military-style vessels. We, of course, have the Freelancer missile gunboat. I think just Miss. I think it is. Yeah, Miss. We've got the Razor LX, which is more of a racing ship than a fighter ship, but hey ho. Stick a couple of guns on that. Or Razor X. So yeah, this has always been more of a racing ship in my eye rather than that. But hey ho, it's available. And we have probably one of the more interesting designs, and I kind of like it. The Reliant Tanner series, which, to be honest with you, looks like a Y-wing. The way it flies and everything, it kind of acts like a Y-wing. Just move the cockpit slightly further up and change the way that the wings flip out, and Bob's your uncle. So yeah, effectively the closest thing to a Y-wing, not Y-wing, B-wing, fuck me. B-wing, sorry. Not Y-wing. B-wing. The closest thing to a B-wing in Star Wars sense. And of course, this big monstrosity, the Ferrer Gemini. What is the difference? Well, apart from a few more bits of armaments and the missiles in the front of the ship, not a lot. This ship is still the giant tanker, which is the worst large ship in the game. She's ugly, but people love her, and I'm sure there's some good reasons for having it. But this is a great way to showcase the old-style design template of most Star Citizen ships in the verse. But we're going to have a quick look at a couple of these ships. So there is, of course, the Razor, which has a single-seat cockpit. It's very simplistic, very, got a couple of size 1 shotgun weapons. Of course, fucking... never will be useful. Just going to say that right now. Never will be useful. The Reliant Tanner series, however, has a very nice internal system. It's not a bad for a first-time ship flyer as well. You've got a couple of the beds for you to sleep in. Tiny cargo space. This is more for like long-range recon, long-range reconnaissance missions. Supplies. You've got weapons case. You've got a weapon armory there. You've got food storage supplies. As I said, you've got the shit shower. Then when you get into the ship's cockpit, you have access to both pilot and co-pilot. If we enter into the pilot. Now, the unique thing about this ship is that when you do fly it, the ship, when you take off and then you go into the flight mode, the wings basically go 90 degrees to a vertical standpoint, and you are given an extremely impressive giant view of the entire environment, which is from the front view. My God, my head is going all over the place. So no, it's actually quite a nice concept for a ship. The slight downside is most of your MFDs are up above. And if any of you guys know my particular personal tastes, any MFD you have to physically look up rather than them being within all of your visual standpoints is, in my opinion, a bad idea. Because having to spend the time to look up to see your various stats is not a good thing. It takes time away from combat, which means time spent that the enemy can go to shoot you and blow you up. So, yeah, not very good. Anyway, moving on to... But there is... This ship does look good. I do like it. It's one of those interesting design style that I just think makes it very, very interesting. Like, for a new player, for a player of different ships, it's an interesting take on a classic style. So we make our way towards the Freelancer Miss. Effectively, they've turned the Freelancer series of ships into a missile nightmare. Literal fuck tons of missiles inside this vessel. Is that a missile launcher thing? Or is that the lights? I can't remember. No, that's missile launchers, I think. Basically, any and all locations where you can put missiles, they have done. And if we make our way into the rear of the ship, cargo bay wise, still that ever fucking horrible turret system. Hate it to pieces. Cargo bay is very much reduced. Very much reduced. You change through the airlock. And as you can see, we have access to a whole host of extra torpedoes and missiles and all that jazz. So this area is more like a storage point for the missiles. And then we have the next airlock. Another bit for the cargo bay. So a bit more cargo space, but not really that much. We have the beds. Pretty much the same design as any other Freelancers. And then we make our way into the crew cabin, whereupon we get access to the pilot seat, which is, as always, on the left side. Though, unfortunately for us, the pilot seat, in this case, unfortunately, this is just a problem when it comes to the Freelancers in general, is the cockpit display and pilot and everything else is so fucking far stretched out. You can't really see much in terms of like first-person flying. So if you are going to be going into combat, this thing is not meant for dogfighting under no circumstances. Hell, flying normally is a pain in the ass with the current display of things. So having to try and do dogfighting in that, no, thank you. It's not that great. But then again, to be honest with you, I feel that this is not really a great ship for combat anyway. There are far better, more agile, more effective ships. This is just literally a missile spam boat. And while it does have some pretty powerful firepower, and it does have some pretty impressive weapons to, as it has the, god damn it, it's a pretty effective ship still, but I don't think it's the best ship. There are more effective weapons out there, and in my own personal opinion, you could probably find, for what money you would pay for this ship, a much better combat ship. Probably from Anvil or Aegis, which will do the job that you're looking for and more. But no, like, the Freelancers is a great transport ship, brilliant cargo transport ship line, but in terms of combat, I think this is just a step too far for them. But hey-ho, is what it is. Just, yeah, no, not for me. Not really the kind of ship line for me. But hey, so Freelancer, so the MISC, they're here. Effectively, they're not as bad a display as the Origin or Consolidated, but they're here. That turret, though, is kind of impressive. I won't lie about that. I mean, that's a pretty meaty weapon on there. It's just a shame the rest of the ship looks like a pile of wank. As we make our way into the last room before we head into the holodecks, we're greeted with, of course, two very distinct developers. First, the Tumbrel, and of course, Crusader with the MSR. So, first of all, we'll have a look at the ground vehicles, because, of course, the Tumbrel Nova Tonk was not the original, not the first vehicle to come out of Tumbrel. As you can see, we have got some ground vehicles known as the Cyclone series. Now, the Cyclone series are probably one of the most, I think they're almost the oldest ground-based vehicles in the game. They were there before the Ballista came into effect. This one being the one that I absolutely fell in love with. I do love the Cyclone series. Brilliant. Star Citizen theme. Love it. So, yeah, the Cyclone series had a variety of different models. You had the TR edition, the AA edition, the RN edition, which is basically like a radar one. There's also a civilian model, which allows you to have a booster rocket, which has been recently made famous in the Daymar Rally. But I don't think we'll be seeing that at all this event, because it's not military, so that makes sense. But of course, people are going to be asking the question, what is this? Well, this is the Cyclone MT, with a size 2 autocannon and 4 size 2 missiles. So one could ask the question, and would be correct in asking, why is this a thing still? What benefit does the Cyclone AA have over the Cyclone MT? Well, at first, I kind of thought nothing, until I saw the video made by Law of the West talking about this, which I'll actually link down below in the description, because I think it's an interesting talk about how certain features, when they get fully upgraded, may in fact make certain vehicles that would potentially seem redundant, actually have much more versatility and usability over more recent models, which look like they're going to trounce them. But yeah, the Tumbril series is a fantastic little bit of kit. If you ever get the chance to own one, either by getting it in the Everse or by getting it IRL, I would seriously suggest you do. It's a fun little vehicle. It's a fun vehicle to drive around in. When I first got back into this game, myself and a friend, we drove around Levski. Levski, and the surrounding terrain with it as well, and those were very enjoyable memories. Sadly, we don't have that planet anymore, but we will be seeing it in the future at some point. So as we make our way over to the next ships in line, we of course are greeted with the first Hercules. Oh God, I can't ever say the fucking right name, but can I today? The first Crusader ship. There, right there, Mr. Jaeger. See the giant Crusader? God almighty, this... I am falling apart with this fucking head cold. I'm going to have to take some more medicine when I finish this recording. But anyway, so the Crusader Mercury Star Runner, or everyone's favorite MSR, is the first ship to have been debuted. It was debuted last year, and we got a taste of what Crusader Industries could unveil. And, someone's already discovered this thing. I was normally going to try and keep it as a secret, but... well, for the sake of clarity, let's just close it as normal. So when you enter into the ship, normally you wouldn't have noticed this little panel on the side. It's been made a bit more noticeable, I think. There's like, for example, you can spot that all the other things are working, but this one, for some reason, doesn't. And then, of course, you open it up, and there's the secret little access panel to the smuggling ring, because that's pretty cool. So we're going to have a quick peek into the engineering side, of course. So bearing in mind this is the floor model, so it's going to be occasionally glitchy with the lighting and everything, but when you get into the, replace this, for the love of fucking God, replace this piece of junk. Just, before we go on, I'm just going to say right now, when you get the MSR stock, when you look into the quantum drive and you use it for the first time, you may think to yourself, oh my God, look at the amount of fuel I've got, this is amazing! Note that it is designed to be as fuel efficient as possible, which means it is the slowest fucking quantum drive known to mankind. You will want to get yourself a different quantum drive to be able to not bore yourself to tears. This does mean you may have to refuel more often, but trust me, it's worth it, because then that way you can actually get from A to B at a relatively decent pace. So anyway, as we make our way into the underdepths, you have all of these different sort of access panels, and like you can walk around, try and sort of sneak your way through various territories. Some parts take you to engineering, some parts take you to whatever, but I'm going to take you to possibly the most popular room in the ship when it comes to utilizing the smuggling room. Yes, the snuggle route, because the reason that's a word, which we follow our way through. And here we go, recreation, and then we hop up into the recreation room, and look at that! That's where the chess pieces are. Now, normally what you would do is you would activate the... Normally what you could do to get this thing to work, of course we're going to close this up to make sure that people aren't tricked, is you'd get the queen piece from this chess piece. I think it's the white queen chest piece. Then you plonk it into this little tab here, and then that opens it up or whatever. For some reason, whenever I do it in the showroom floors, it doesn't seem to work, which is a bit of a shame. Why is that on? Oh, it's because it's being set up. Okay. Oh, nice microwave. Nice. But anyway, so yes, that is basically, this is the nice recreation chair. I fucking love this leather. This leather chair looks so, so comfortable, honestly. Leather chair's best chair. But anyway, so let's go into the bridge and drive in. So now as we're making our way into the main hallway, we're going to head over to Habitation. Now, of course, this ship is the first concept, I would say, as said, it's the first concept of Crusader, which has a few good things and a few silly things. For example, the good things are it has the sensors ability, it has the ability to turn lights on or off. Obviously, both of these would be improved and refined for the sake of the Hercules. So the Hercules would have the ability to not only turn your lights on or off, but also have the ability for you to change them to a dimmer setting. The sensors on and off is a little bit more noticeable and more easy to work with, which again is really good. And one of the concepts which I like, but unfortunately I think has also kind of failed at the same time, is the ability to lock the doors. So for example, when you lock the doors, or lock the pad or whatever, you can, like... I think the concept is that it was basically you could get it to work, but in the times that we've been able to, you know, lock the door or attempt to keep the door locked, this is still there on the other side of the door. Now, I've had mixed success with this thing. We've tested it with outside of the events and all that jazz, and it seems like you can just walk up to it and just disable it, or it may be that the panel gets disabled. I mean, I've occasionally seen potentially locked doors where the other side has it go where the panel goes blank, but very seldom does that happen. So I think the other concept in the Hercules works a lot better. There's a few more as you do sort of things as we make our way into the cockpit of the MSR. So a few open concepts, which is great. Some of them work, some of them don't work as well. So the co-pilot doesn't really get to do a lot of things, unfortunately. It kind of falls into the same trap as all of the other vessels, but the extended extra features that you can pluck around with and muck around with. MFDs are also quite nice, but again, some of them you need to look around to see. Luckily, this one's more for the communication side of things, and all the other important ones are over there. And finally, you've got all the extra functionalities on these buttons over here, which are really cool, which are actually all really, really, really cool. View-wise, the vehicle has got some very decent view from the cockpit. So all in all, it's a solid ship. No, not gonna lie. So we're gonna make our way out of the vessel. Wait for the doors to work. Here we go. I mean, the thing is, this was the ship that got me interested into the Crusader industries. And of course, one thing that we will note is that all of these ships that we've seen of the Crusader so far, not dedicated combat vessels. These, of course, are transporters or smugglers, but not dedicated combat. They can fight, but they're not supposed to. And of course, we have the turret access in here with the really nice looking chairs, the lower access to the turret, higher access to the turret, which is lovely. Just going to make our way across to the scanning room. This is the main real reason, though, for this ship, is scanning. Getting information, getting data, getting the ability to transmit information. That is the big one. That is the big key there. Everything else is sort of secondary, and as we can see, we've got more of the features and functionality coming through as well. So all in all, really impressive stuff. And of course, now we make our way to the cargo room, to the elevator that I never use. I seldom use the MSR, but when I do, I never use the elevator. For me, it's just faster to just jump off and climb up again, and maybe they learnt that for the Hercules, because obviously can't do it for this one. But all in all, a fantastic ship. I like it. I'm not a huge... I like it, and I'm not, mental about it, but it was the ship that got me interested in Crusader Industries as a shipbuilder. Previously, I was kind of, meh about them, but then when I had a look inside Crusader ship, when I looked inside the MSR for the first time, I'm like, okay, these guys definitely mean business, and I'm going to keep tabs on them from now on. And then, you know, Hercules arrived, and I'm like, ooh... But anyway, let's make our way towards the holodeck for where we can wrap up this video. As we make our way down towards the holodeck, we are actually greeted once again by a sighting of a variety of vehicles. So in case you didn't see them in the other hallway, you do have the chance of having a look at them a little bit closer up in this area, which is kind of nice. I'm kind of surprised that they went with a tumbrel in both locations, as this arguably is the better place to have them. But then again, I suppose people probably wouldn't go down here for the holodecks anyway, to a certain extent, so maybe that's why. And, oh, would you look at that? There's another Nova. Makes me wonder why the hell I even bothered with the whole thing, but hey-ho. But there we have the ability to look at both the tanks and the ground vehicles without too much of a purpose. But really, the big one, of course, is the center of the room, which is, of course, the holodeck. And we get the ability to have a look at ships that are yet to come into the verse. So without further ado, let's get started. And we have a starter by... Oh, that's the Tumbril. Oh, wow. I think that's the first time we've seen it in-game. No, that's not. It's not. No, I don't think so. In-game was in playable, I should say. Okay, so we still got some textures still to prepare for, but she's looking good. This is the Ranger TR. This is the military edition of the Ranger bike, and she looks so good. I cannot wait. She is absolutely gorgeous. Oh wow! Like we've got hover bikes, but nothing will look as sexy as this thing. And I can't wait to see some of the trick videos we're gonna get when this thing comes out. It looks so good. It looks so good. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, no, this is awesome. I like this. I'm very much a keen fan on this. No, I'm seriously a big fan of this. This is I mean, I got this bike a couple years ago. Was it a year ago? No, it was about a year ago. And I've not regretted it at all. I am extremely excited. When this thing comes out, oh my god, I'm gonna have such a fucking field day. It's gonna be brilliant. So going on to the next ship, of course, the other ship I own. This beauty. That's right. It's the Aries Inferno. This is the combat ship that I was talking about. The one that Crusader is working on with a Psi-7 Gatling gun. And she looks lovely. Very simplistic design at the moment. Still got some kinks to work out and all that. But she is looking good. Oh wow, that's actually quite close. We're going into the freaking model. Very simplistic. That or the textures aren't loading in. Probably a bit of both. But no, simplistic model, but the concept is there. Like, it was announced I think it was announced a year ago at the last year's Invictus. And we didn't even have a concept, so this is really cool. I mean, luckily, now that we've got the Crusader technology in tow, it's not actually going to take too much time before we can get the engine, because we've got the engines from other various ships. You can get the components to work with it, because components are practically invisible at this point, but they still have a physical presence. We've got the heads-up display and whatever you can have, which is pretty dope. The only new technology I think they're going to have to implement is probably figuring out a way of getting the gun to work, how much ammunition and balancing. But no, she looks lovely. And yeah, dedicated combat vessel. Now, admittedly, this ship is more specialized in its combat role. It's designed to fuck over giant ships. But it's still a dedicated combat ship, which I reckon once you get into the full flow of things, I'm sure you can still make it work quite well. So that pretty much wraps it up for Crusader, Tumbril, and Misc Day. I hope you have enjoyed... No, let's go this way. I hope you have enjoyed today. Apologies for me occasionally rumbling around. My head is a little muzzy, I won't lie. But I thought I'm determined to showcase Invictus launch week to you guys, and by God, I shall. But no, it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm really excited for the next day, though. To be fair, this was the day I was looking most forward to, because obviously Tumbril Nova, it's a tank. Why would I not be? And yeah, no, I am extremely excited. I can't buy anything this year, though, sadly, which is really fucking depressing. So this particular Invictus, I'm not going to be able to touch stuff, but maybe at CitizenCon, I might have enough cash to perhaps splurge a bit out on some other stuff. But either way, it is still a fantastic event, and I look forward to seeing what the next day will bring. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you like this kind of content, let me know in the comment section down below. Clicking on the like button and, of course, subscribing to the channel. I am running the other... if you want to watch the series of videos, I'm currently uploading. I've done the other videos on the other days, so go check those out if you want to see more of the other bits and bobs and my reactions to them. Admittedly, they're a little less coldified, but still, I'm hoping you have enjoyed them, and I hope you enjoy those other things. And I hope to see you in the next day. So, I will see you then. This is Mr. Jaeger, signing out. Have a good one.